Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. In today's lecture, we are going to cover two important proteins. One is alpha keratin and another is collagen. These are very important and we will see their structure and functions. So let's start our today's lecture. Now, if first we will start with the alpha keratin, and alpha keratins are the proteins which are found only in mammals, and they provide strength and toughness to so many structures. Now, they are the part of the intermediate filament proteins family. I'm sure you know about the family and superfamilies which we discussed in last class. If not, then you can just go back to that video and watch it again. So they are the part of the intermediate filament proteins family, and they are the major structural proteins of hair, wool, nails, claws, hoofs, horns, quills, and the outer layer of skin. Yeah. And now we will see how they are arranged and what is the structure of the alpha keratin molecule. Each molecule is an elongated alpha helix. Now remember, it is an elongated alpha helix. So you can see here, this is the alpha helix which is right handed. Okay, and these are the representation of the different elements like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen and sulfur. And this represents the dotted lines. These are the hydrogen bonds. Now the helix has slightly thicker region near its N and C terminal. So when we'll see the N and the C terminus, you will find that they are slightly thicker, okay, because of the structure. Now two alpha helices, they align parallel to each other, okay, and they twist around one another in a left-handed direction, and that produces a two-chain coiled coil. So you can see here they are the two helices, okay, they are the left-handed coiled coil when they are making a dimer. So alpha helix by itself is a right-handed alpha helix, but when it comes in the dimer, then it becomes the left-handed coiled coil. This is something which is notable. And there is a close packing of the polypeptide chain, right? And this particular structure is rich in alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, methionine, and phenylalanine. So these are the amino acids which are very rich, and they are found here in the coiled coil dimer. Now there are several coiled coils which associate laterally to form protofilaments. So you can see here, these are the protofilaments which are made when the several coiled coil dimers, they associate laterally. So you can see here, they are side by side, they are associating and they are forming the protofilaments, and these protofilaments, they further associate to form the protofibrils. So here you can see the protofilaments, they are making the protofibrils, and approximately 4 protofibrils, they combine to produce an intermediate filament, and this is the intermediate filament family to which this particular alpha keratin belongs to, right? So each intermediate filament, it contains 32 alpha keratin polypeptide chains. All right, so that's how they are forming the intermediate filament. Now when we see the single alpha helical chain, that makes the tertiary structure of the protein, or that represents the tertiary structure. But when these two chains, they come along and they form a coiled coil dimer, that makes the quaternary structure. Okay, now many dimers, when they assemble into filaments, they make supramolecular structure. So basically alpha keratin is a supramolecular structure. Now there are so many disulfide bonds between the polypeptide chains, and these disulfide bonds are very important because they increase the mechanical strength greatly, and they not only increase the mechanical strength, but also they control the the kind of and the the hardness or the softness of the protein. So you can see here, disulfide bonds are formed when there are two cysteine molecules, they come together and they make a bond here. Now when in a protein, in alpha keratin, when there are few disulfide bonds, then those keratins are softer, they are more flexible keratins. For example, in skin, we will see very few disulfide bonds making our skin flexible and softer. But There are moderate disulfide bonds are present, for example in hair and wool, that makes strong but still they are flexible. Okay, but then they have increased the mechanical strength. But in some cases there are so many disulfide bonds, and these so many disulfide bonds, they contribute to very hard keratins, and these are found in nails, in claws, in hooves and horns. So now these things, now this concept, gives you an understanding that why the keratin molecules are softer or harder. It is all because of the presence of the number of disulfide bonds, right? So more disulfide bonds, it is harder. If it is less disulfide bonds, it is softer. Now if you see the hardest alpha keratins, they have been found in the rhinoceros horn, and there are up to 18% residues are cysteines. Now this again gives you one important insight, that because disulfide bonds are formed due to the amino acid cysteine. So if more cysteine is there in alpha keratin, that makes it harder. But if less cysteine molecules are there, then it makes softer. Okay, remember this point. Now we also have the hydrogen bonds, and these hydrogen bonds are responsible for the alpha helix structure. Now these hydrogen bonds, because they are responsible for the alpha helix structure, the disulfide bonds are responsible for maintaining the overall shape and strength of the hair fibers. So these two kinds of bonds, they contribute differently. While hydrogen bonds are responsible for the alpha helix structure, the disulfide bonds, they are responsible for maintaining the overall shape and strength of the hair fibers. Now we are coming to the second protein, which is the collagen. Now collagen is the most abundant protein in animals and the most prevalent extracellular matrix component. All right. Now it also has a particular helix, and this helix is specifically known as a collagen helix, which is a very unique secondary structure and which is different from the alpha helix. So you can see here, this is the alpha chain. So this is the chain number 1, chain number 2 and chain number 3. So each alpha chain, it is a left-handed polyproline 2. We call it as a pp2 helix with 3 amino acid residues per turn. Okay, this is very special helix where we have a 3 amino acid residues per turn, and once they intertwine each other, they make a right-handed triple helix. So you can see here they are intertwined and they are making a triple helical molecule, and this is known as tropocollagen. Is this clear? So there are alpha helix and this is a collagen helix which is making, which are actually the left-handed, but they are making the right-handed triple helix called as a tropocollagen. Now if you see, the collagen has a repeating units, a triplet, which is the glycine X and Y triplet pattern. So you will have a glycine, then you will have X amino acid and you will have a Y amino acid. Then you will again have a glycine, then XY, again glycine, XY. So glycine, if you see, it is every third residue is glycine. Now this is really very important, which contributes to the structure of the collagen. How? I will show you. Now X, at position X, it is often proline, right? So X position often contains proline, while the Y, it contains usually hydroxyproline. So it is glycine, hydroxyproline, proline, something like that. So every third residue is glycine, and this glycine, it fits into the tightly packed center of the triple helix, because glycine has the smallest chain, and which is the hydrogen. All right, so that's why it makes it a very tightly packed center, because the glycine can fit into it. And the X, it position contains proline and Y contains often hydroxyproline. Now if we see the typical amino acid composition, which is the approximate, around 35% amino acids are the glycine, 28% are the proline, and around 38% are the hydroxyproline rich positions. Alright, so the most common triplet is the proline, hydroxyproline and glycine, around 10.5% of the proteins. Clear? Good. So a pp2 helix is a left-hand helix. Now these are few points which are formed by the proline-rich sequences with the three residues per turn. Okay, you can see here. It is more flexible than alpha helices due to the absence of intramolecular hydrogen bonds. Now that's very important point, because alpha helices will have the intramolecular hydrogen bonds which contribute to the formation of the helix, but here in this particular collagen helix this intramolecular hydrogen bonds are absent. So there are steric constraints, and these steric constraints are because of its unique sequence, and this unique sequence is dominated by the repeating glycine, proline and hydroxyproline triplets. Now it turns so tightly and sharply to the left that it cannot form stabilizing hydrogen bonds with its own backbone, and that's why the intramolecular hydrogen bonds are absent. Is this clear? Now that's a really very notable point here. Now, collagen is strong. Why it is strong? Because there is a tight packing of the three alpha chains here. So you can see here glycine is in the center, all right, and then there are proline and hydroxyproline. They are stabilizing the helix by restricting the conformation, and then there is a tight packing of all the three in alpha chains making a whole strand. So only glycine is small enough to fit in the core of the triple helix, and that's why every third molecule is a glycine. Now second point is, when we look at the adjacent collagen molecules like the tropocollagen, then we have we can see here that there are the covalent crosslinks which provide rigidity and tensile strength. So basically these crosslinks, they are providing the rigidity and the tensile strength in the tropocollagen. Now they have an exceptional tensile strength, and this tensile strength of the collagen fibril is greater than that of the steel wire of the equal cross sectional area. Okay, so these collagen fibrils are so strong that they are stronger than the steel wire if we look and if we see the equal cross sectional area here. Now they are the major structural proteins in vertebrates. They are found in bones, tendons, cartilage, cornea, connective tissue and the basement membrane. Now, let us see the organization of the collagen. Now, there are the amino acid sequences which have the repeating glycine X and Y triplets. Then they make the alpha chain. These alpha chains are basically left-handed pp2 helix. Then they make a triple helix or the tropocollagen, and they make a right-handed triple helix. Then these tropocollagen, they make collagen fibril. So there are many tropocollagen, the molecules packed in a staggered array. Now when these collagen fibrils, they assemble into fibers, we call them as a collagen fibers, and these collagen fibers are embedded in the extracellular matrix and they form the tissue, and this is how the collagens are integrated into the ECMs. Now there are few key points which you should know. There are more than 30 collagen variants in mammals, and each is specialized for a particular tissues and functions. Okay, so many variants. All collagens, they share the characteristic triple helical structure based on the repeating sequence, and the repeating sequence is glycine XY, glycine XY, glycine XY, where X is often proline and Y is often hydroxyproline, which you have seen 2 slides back. Now glycine is essential. It has the smallest side chain, and in the collagen triple helix these alpha three alpha chains, they are packed extremely tightly together because of the presence of this glycine, because it can be buried into the center. So the center of the helix is very narrow, and only glycine is small enough to fit into this central region. Okay, now a single glycine substitution, it can disrupt the entire collagen molecule. So you can see here how important and how conserved the position of the glycine is in the collagen molecules. Now there is a disease which is known as brittle bone disease or osteogenesis imperfecta. In this particular disease, it results from the mutations in the collagen genes, and it often involves glycine substitutions, right? So the result is the bones are fragile, there are frequent fractures, and then there is a poor bone formation. and because of this, the growth abnormalities are seen in the patients. The mild form causes the recurrent fractures, and if there is some serious conditions come, then the patient may not survive. Then there is a condition or a syndrome which is known as EDS, or the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This is caused by the defects in the collagen synthesis or structure, and it causes hypermobile joints. We usually call it as a double jointed. The skin is stretchy and the connective tissue is weak. So these are just two examples of the disease which can be caused by the mutations in the collagen. So we will close our discussion today and we will meet you in the next class. Till then, you take care of yourself.